Hello, this is Phil Simborg from the Backgammon Learning Center. You may have heard about Pasko Gammon, which is a game I invented, which is a deep back game that a lot of people are playing now because it's fun. One side plays a deep back game, the other one defends, and often it gets turned around. It's a long, complicated game, but it's great practice. And I named it after my good friend Jim Pasko, who's one of the best backgammon players in the world and also one of the best backgammon players in the world. I'm very happy to say a good friend of mine. So we worked together, and I made it in his honor. Well, Jim really inspired it by playing and getting into deep back games all the time. And he also inspired me in another way. He came up with another idea, which is a wonderful, wonderful, fun learning tool. I don't have to tell you all how important it is to get the first few moves of the roll of the game right. It sets the stage for the entire game. If you don't get the opening move and the second roll move right, and even if it's a small error, you're going to make that error over and over and over again. The lessons that you learn by learning how to play those right are going to help you throughout the game. So it's important to get that right, and I've been drilling my students for years and drilling myself on how to get the first few moves right, coming up with some algorithms and some rules of thumb, and simply just memorizing opening moves and maybe even some second roll moves. But by the time we get to the third and fourth roll, you can't memorize. There's just too many permutations. You have to have some intelligence and some decent approach. Well, Jim Pasco came up with a challenge. He thinks that very few people can play three rolls perfectly well, and if they do try to play the three rolls well, good players will get it perfectly well a lot of the time, but once in a while you're going to get dinged with a big mistake, and those mistakes are going to teach you. So I've been playing his challenge of the first three moves to see how well I can do, and so have many others have taken up the challenge. I put it on Facebook and on blogs, and some of the best players in the world are trying it, and most of them are doing pretty well because the top players have really got the first two moves memorized at least, and it's really only the third roll if they make a mistake, but it can be a lulu. I've done it myself quite a bit, but I'm going to show you right now how to do this so you can practice it because no matter how well you do, it's going to help your game. What you do is if you make a mistake, go ahead and keep the mistake. Don't change it. Don't play in tutor mode, and just keep track of your PR, and you'll see how it's improving over time just by doing it over and over again and learning what you're doing wrong. The best way, though, when you see a mistake, look at what XG is saying is the right play and try and come up with a good reason why. If you can't come up with a good reason why, then you need help. Call a friend, call me, call a teacher, or give it some more study. But don't just let it go because, again, it's going to haunt you. But let me show you how we play the Pasco challenge. What I do is I play File, New, Unlimited Game. We're playing strictly money games, unlimited games. And I've created a profile. I've created a name called Phil 3 Roll to differentiate it from the other games that I play. And I play against Extreme Gammon at a very high level. It's not the highest level, but I don't need to do these rollouts, and it's good enough. And I don't care if XG isn't perfect in his plays, but at extreme level in the first three moves, it usually is pretty darn close to perfect. So I play the game, and I'm playing in the free mode, so I can actually see if I make a mistake and see how it's going, because I want to learn from this too. So, okay, he had an opening 4-1, and he made the proper play, which is in money to split. Now it's my first roll, and I roll a 6-5. To me, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to run with the 6-5. And if I made an error, I would find out immediately this wouldn't be 0-0-0 anymore. My PR would go up, and this would, if it's more than a 2% error, this would turn into a color, and I could study and see what I did wrong. Okay, so my Extreme Gammon rolled. It's my turn. I rolled a 3-1. Again, I have a no-brainer. I'm making the 5-point, and again, I'm right. Now, I only have one more move to make. So far, I'm playing at 0, and I roll a 5-3. No longer a no-brainer. So I have some choices here, and here's where I could easily make a mistake and go wrong, and I think lots of people would too. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what play I'm going to make. The reason I'm taking so long is I want you to decide what play you would make before I make my play. Because I see, obviously, you can bring a checker down with the 5 and come up with the 3. You can go into your 5-point, or you can just run all the way. one of those plays is the best play, and I think a mistake could be a pretty big mistake here, and I want to keep my PR down low. So one of the things I recommend doing when you're looking at different plays is make the play and look at it. The nice thing about uh, 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 backgammon is you're allowed to move the checkers and put them back. Some people don't like that, but it's not touch and move like chess. So here's one play. Not bad. I'm up 6 pips in the race. I can cheat because I'm looking at the pip count here, which helps you. It's a little better than over the board. Being up in the race, I don't like being stuck back here. So maybe if I'm up, it might be better to run. I'm not going to make the 3-point and leave him a shot. That's not worth it to me, and giving up my 8-point. And coming up and down, I don't like that because this checker is going to be attacked with any 2, 4, or 9, and he would love to attack me there. So the other play, of course, is to race. Hope he doesn't roll a 4. He's got 2 checkers back. And again, I'm not going to tell you which one I'm going to make. You decide. Which of those 3 plays do you like? Or do you see another play? Do you see 5 and the 3 behind him? That's another possibility I didn't think about, didn't mention. What's your play? Okay, here's my play. We're going to find out how dumb I am. And I'm not embarrassed if I miss. I don't get them right all the time. By the way, when I ask my students about a play, I ask for their how confident they are. Because if they're very, very confident of a bad play, we've got a problem. And if they're not very confident of the right play, they still proves they need more study. So on a scale of 1 to 10, my confidence on this play is pretty good. I think it's about an 8, 8.5. I wouldn't bet my life on this play, but I'm pretty sure it's right. Let's find out. I'm going to hit the button. Thank goodness I'm right. And I want to go a step further and look at the play by clicking on it. By the way, a lot of people, when they open Extreme Gammon, it looks like this. Display winning as percent as graphic bar. I hate these. I can't see wins, gammons, and backgammons without putting my cursor over it. So I right-click and I hit display winning percentage as value so I can see right away. And according to Extreme Gammon, I made the right play. But the second best play isn't that bad up and down. This isn't that bad either. But I'm done now. I've made 3 moves. Now I'm going to hit Analyze, Session, World Class. It's now analyzed the session, and I'm going to, do I want to add this to player profile? Yes. So every game that I play that's called Fill 3 Play is in that profile. I'm not embarrassed to show it to you. I think I'm doing fairly well. So I'm going to look at it. Players, see profile results. Fill 3 roll. I'm averaging 1.69 PR. And how many games have I played? It looks like I played about 20. Let's take a look at how many games. Yeah, and you can see I've had a couple of terrible ones. A 7, a 5, a 3. One little mistake, and because you're only playing 3 games, is going to really, really cost you. And by the way, I learned a lot from this. I've learned some 3 rolls that third roll positions that I didn't know that well. And I also learned something else. The ones where I had the worst PRs is where I missed a double. Now I know that within the first 3 rolls, I often have a double after I roll double 5 or double 3 and I'm blitzing. But these were doubles that were not like that I didn't think about the double. I was concentrating on the checker play, and I'll bet I've made those same mistakes when I've been playing matches. So this has helped me in that respect also to keep my eye open for early doubles, even in a money game. Before the end of my 3rd roll, I might have a cube. Of course, there are some times where he has a cube and I have a pass, and that ends the turn. But this is an exercise I would suggest you try and see how well you do. Of course, lots of people are going to. I could cheat. I could easily take out this 7 and make my PR much, much better. That's what a lot of people do. You ask most people what their PR average is, and they're always going to give you. They sort of forget to look at, or they get rid of the really, really bad games because they think, that's just a really horrible game, or I wasn't really thinking. But this is an honest PR for the first 3 moves only of 1.69, and I'm not bragging because I guarantee you that Stick, David Presser, Dimitri, they've been trying this. They can do better than this. I'm sure Mochi can do better than this. I'm not sure Falafel can, because he hasn't really studied. He's taken some pride in not studying these first roll moves. I certainly wouldn't bet against Falafel on anything, because if I made the bet, he'd study this in about 20 minutes. He'd have it. So, because he's such a great player. But again, these things are important, and this is a great exercise to improve your game. Hope you enjoyed it. Do it over and over again in your spare time. If you do it quickly without all this discussion, you can play your first three moves, record it, and plug it in about 60 seconds. So it wouldn't take you very long to get 10, 20, 30 games. Jim Pasko's done a few hundred already, and he believes he can do as well or better than anyone in the world. He's willing to do a money challenge against anybody that he can be as well or better on the first three moves. Now keep in mind, when you don't move first, your third move is actually the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth roll of the game if you didn't get to go first. So we're going 6 rolls deep. When you count all the permutations, it's tremendous. Now, of course, it's also easier when you're playing Extreme Gammon, because Extreme Gammon's making the right move every time, and we're more familiar with how to play after the right move. I'm sure I would make a lot more mistakes if I was playing the average player or below average player that made some goofy plays on the opening roll or the second roll. Then I might not know what to do at all. That's when your brain has to kick in and not your memory. So the good news is, though, that even if you play wrong against a bad player, you're still going to have an edge. But I hope this was fun for you, and my hat's off to Jim Pasko for coming up with this beautiful idea. And if you're one of my students, I've already talked to you about doing this as an exercise to help improve your game. It's a great way to do it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.